Good morning students. So I am back again with the new tense. Today we will talk about past perfect tense, which is the seventh tense. Okay. So let's understand. You can see in this chart we have already completed 4 subtense of present tense and 2 of past tense. Today we will talk about the third, which is past perfect tense. So let's understand what is past perfect tense. Let's see this example. When I arrived, my baby had broken the egg. Now can you make out what's happening over here? They're talking about two actions. Arrived and had broken. You can see it is highlighted, and both the actions are happened in the past. Okay, none of them are in the present or future. It is past action we are talking about. So both actions happened in the past, but one happened before the other started or other began. So the definition, the past perfect tense, means it indicates that an action was completed, done over, finished or perfected at some point in the past. Here they have not mentioned the time, but it is understood that the action is in the past, right, at some point before something else happened. So here one action is completed before something else happened. Let's take another example to make sure we have understood better. Okay, we have the police arrested the men who had robbed a bank. Can you see? Okay, so here again you can see two actions happening: arrested and robbed. Both are in the past. Okay, but why police arrested? Because the men had already robbed a bank. The crime was done, it was completed. Then the another action happened of arresting. Police didn't arrest just like that, right? The man had robbed a bank in the past, so the police arrested the men. Are you able to understand, students? Like in past simple also we talk about the past tense, the action in the past, but here what you really need to remember is that when we have two actions in the past, right, you can see in the first example arrive and broken, here arrested and robbed, both actions, right. So both actions are in the past. So we use the past perfect tense to clearly show which action happened first. So can you tell me now in these examples which action happened first in the first example? Let me explain you through a timeline. See this. Can you see the white color line arrows? Right. Just focus there. Okay now. So the down arrow indicates the present time now. Okay. And this side to your right is future. Okay. Moving forward. And this side to your left moving backward, past. Okay. So we are talking about past perfect tense. So obviously we are not talking about the activities happening right now, but let's talk about the actions first. The first action is arrived and the second action is broken. Okay. So let me say that one action happened in the past. You can see yellow color cross mark, that is the action. First action happened in the past. Okay. So which action happened? You can see that broken. Okay. So here it shows that broken, the egg, breaking of the egg happened before. How? So you can see that both the actions are happened in the past, but arriving of mother bird and breaking of egg, these are the two actions. And we can notice that breaking of the egg happened before the bird arrived. Can you see? Okay. When the bird arrived, before that the breaking of the egg was already done. The baby bird already had come out of the egg. Are you able to understand, students, through this timeline? It is easy. Okay. If not, let's take another. So you need to remember that, see where I have where the first action happened, there I have used the word head. Why? Let's understand that as well. Head broken. Can you see I have highlighted that head broken word? Why? Let's look at the next slide. Because the form, the sentence structure says that we have to use what? Head for the past perfect tense. So, your form would be subject plus head plus V3 past participle form plus object. Now, let me give you one more example. See, when we reached the school, the bell had already rung. Can you see now? Notice we reached the school, but what happened? Before that the bell had already rung. Now with this tense you can also use the words like yet, already. This kind of words we use to indicate, to emphasize that the action has already completed before something else started. Okay. So I have used the word head with the past participle by taking the help of the word already, which indicates, emphasizes that action had already done. Bell rang and then we reach the school. Let's take one more example for better clarity. When he arrived to the train station, the train had left. Can you see here also the timeline is shown? Let's look at the past. Like present, so we don't have to look because we are talking about right now past perfect tense. You can see 9 AM and 9:15. Let's say right now it is 10 o'clock. Okay. So 10 o'clock it is and 9:15 I reached the station. So it already indicates that the activity is in the past. But when the train left before 9:15, I reached station at 9:15, but train already left at 9 o'clock. Now you understood, student? So we will use the word had and past participle form with the activity happened before. So the train had left. Okay? Now clear? Great. So let's now move towards making the positive or affirmative. Sorry, before that, past participle rules we have already cleared before, and you know that there are regular verbs and irregular verbs. Past participle regular verbs we create with ed word, you know that, right? Wash plus ed is equal to washed. And irregular verbs are like t, n or n, which you have to memorize. There is no option. Okay. So you can see the examples. We've already covered this before, so I'm not going to go into the details of this again, but this is just for your reference. Once more we can revise, there is no problem in it. And there are also verbs that don't change, and you also remember some other spelling rules, like if there is a y, you add ied, if there is CVC method, you remember all that, right? Okay, so past participle is clear. Let's now go towards forming the positive or affirmative sentences. So here subject plus head plus V3 plus object is your form for positive affirmative. Again we will take regular and irregular one example of both. So regular verbs. Now here students, no matter the subject is first person, second person, third person, no issues. With all the subjects in past perfect tense we will use head. Get this very clear in your head. Head and head, H-E-A-D, head means your head. Okay. The one which is above your shoulder, that head I am talking about, and this is the head, past tense, right? So here subject, I, you, we, they, he, she, it. Okay. Any of the subject is there, you use head with it, and then you use past participle V3 form of verb, which is ed. Okay. So base form is wash plus you add ed to it, so you get washed. Understood, students? So what you get, the sentences, I had washed. Okay. Now you can see I have used the contractions here. Now this you need to clearly listen, carefully listen. Okay. I'd, the sound. I'd. H and A we will remove and we will put apostrophe over there. So, you get I'd. I'd washed. You'd washed. We'd washed. They'd washed. He'd washed. She'd washed. Understood, students? These are your contractions. Okay, great. Let's look at the irregular verbs. We have taken example of eat plus we have add en, so you get eaten. Okay. Same way, subject will remain same. Subject, if the subject is, any of the subject is there, you use had with it. You add en to the base form of verb eat. So, you get eaten. So, your sentences will be I had eaten, you had eaten. Let's talk about the contractions only, so you will remember also that I'd eaten, you'd eaten, we'd eaten, they'd eaten, he'd eaten, she'd eaten. Understood, students? Easy? Great. So, let's now look at the forming of negative sentences. So, negative sentences, obviously you know we have to add not to make it negative. Okay. So, regular verbs, you can see the third column, I have highlighted the word not, you add not over there, rest of the things will remain same. Okay. So, you get I had not washed, but the contraction here will change. Now, we will combine had plus not, so you get hadn't, hadn't. Listen the pronunciation carefully, hadn't. Okay. So, you get I hadn't washed, you hadn't washed, we hadn't washed, they hadn't washed, he hadn't washed, she hadn't washed. Understood, students? Let's look at the irregular verb. Same way, not is added after the had. Okay. So, you get I hadn't eaten, you hadn't eaten, we hadn't eaten, they hadn't eaten, he hadn't eaten, she hadn't eaten. Understood, students? Okay. Very easy this tense is, because you do not have to remember which subject, which word will go, nothing. All the subject, like any of the subject is there, like for example Mr. Robert, or Sunny or Umbrine, or any of the word you take, you use had with it. Okay. So, any of the subject. Okay. So, let's look at now forming the interrogative sentences. So, interrogative, you know that we take had in the beginning with a capital H plus subject plus V3 form of word plus object. So, you get regular verbs, had in the beginning, you can see I have highlighted. Okay. And subject will same as positive and negative. Okay. Any of the subject, then you use washed. So, you get had I washed, had you washed, had we washed, had they washed, had he washed, had she washed, and question mark at the end. Okay. And same way you get with the irregular verb, had I eaten, had you eaten, had we eaten, had they eaten, had he eaten, had she eaten, and question mark at the end. Okay, students, I think it is clear, very easy this tenses. Just remember the rules and you will be good to go. Okay. So, we will meet again with the new tense. Have a very good day.